Ready for our next case, please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
My name is Milton Williams, 348-231.
And Milton, my name is Brennan Kelsey, along with me is Ms. Cheryl Renata. Mr. Tony Marabella will be your pro panel. Ask you some questions. You can respond at the end, make a statement, we'll take a vote. Okay? You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
And then we have some folks here in opposition and in support, and so we'll let the people speak that chose to speak for 3 minutes or less each. We have Miss Evelyn Williams. We have Miss Sheila Craig, Linda Smith. Oh, it says, okay, so it says Williams here. Sturgis, Evelyn Sturgis, Sheila Craig, Linda Smith, Elma Ruth Jones, Barbara Peterson. And then we have Miss Keanu Williams, Carrie Myers, Jeranica Leonard, Jasmine Leonard, Sonia Populous, Tanisha Marklian, Tammy Matthews, Earl Marklian Jr. Okay, and so again, at the appropriate time, we'll let everybody speak for 3 minutes or less. Mr. Milton Williams, DOC number 348231, you're a first class offender. Parole eligibility date 12/7/2022. Good time date 1/24/2042. Full term date 10/20/2092, a 99-year sentence. A commutation of sentence by the governor. Second degree murder. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you answer Ms. Cheryl Renata's questions, please?
Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Good morning.
How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right, how long have you been in jail, Mr. Williams?
October 21st, 1993.
How many years is that?
That's 29 years, 7 months, and about four days.
Okay, and how old are you?
I'm 74.
Okay. So the victim in this case was your wife?
Pardon me?
Who is the victim in this case?
My wife,
Right.
Mrs. Karen Denise Sturgis Williams.
Well, what happened, Mr. Williams?
I murdered my wife.
How did that happen?
I was an alcoholic, and it was just something that happened. I ask myself all the time, how in the world did I let a dumb thing like that happen?
Are you a veteran, Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And so you've been in jail, you said 29 years, 7 months, and 4 days. What have you done with your time since you've been in prison?
Since I've been in prison, I've taken every educational program, just about every faith-based program, every self-help program. I have a associate's and a bachelor's degree from the seminary in New Orleans Baptist Seminary. I'm a certified plumbing instructor. I teach reentry. I'm a minister. I teach Bible class on Saturdays and every Monday.
And as I review your prison record, I see in almost 30 years, you've received 18 write-ups, which is a good record. The last was in November of 2016, quite some time ago, but it was a contraband. What was that? You remember?
Yes, ma'am. That was some cigarettes that was found in my area, and I took responsibility for it.
All right. So what about the community service work? I know you mentioned you're a mentor, you do some teaching. Is there any other community service work that you
Yes, ma'am. I help out at Point Lookout and burying our dead. And also I assist wheelchair people, taking them to the store, to the hospital, And whatever, if they're going to the child hall, I push them to the child hall.
What's your sobriety plan whenever you're released?
When I'm released, I'll never drink alcohol, never again.
That's your plan, just don't do it.
That's the fact.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, Mr. Chairman.
Right, Warden, you have any input for us?
No, everything that he said is accurate. Just want to let you know that he is one of our reentry court mentors. He mentored the mentees that are assigned to reentry court, teach them the plumbing skills, area. He's very efficient in it and does a good job.
Right, thank you. Okay, we'll hear from now, Ms. Tammy Matthews. Go ahead and make a brief statement.
That's my spiritual advisor.
Yeah, it's Mr. Tammy Matthews. It's a weird name, I know, for a guy, but
Okay, all right, Mr. Tammy Matthews, go ahead and make a statement.
yes, I have known Milton since 2016, met him at the rodeo. I'm a fan of his artwork. I've collected it, and because of that, we've become really good friends. In 2018, I wrote a letter to the clemency board outlining what I knew about Milton and the observations I'd had and how impressed I was with what he's doing. And then in 2021, I spoke at his clemency hearing in support of him. And I'm assuming both of those are in the records, and so I won't really repeat that. But the time since 2021 has only augmented my impressions of Milton. And I feel that he is just a textbook example of rehab. And I think it's a good example of what rehab can accomplish. And I think to prove that rehab works, a person needs to be released and allowed to prove that. I think that Milton is a person who does what he can with what he has, where he's at, with the people that's within his arm's reach. And I think that's a really amazing thing, a talent to have, not only here in prison, but he'll continue the same work outside. And I will remain his friend and full supporter in any way that I can when he's released.
All right, thank you. We hear from Mr. Kerry Myers.
Good morning, Kerry Myers, with Louisiana Parole Project. I think everybody's being a little humble with Mr. Williams today. Not only has he earned his degrees from NOBTS, not only has he taught hundreds of younger men plumbing skills to train them to go back out. He's also been a mentor, a character mentor for them. He facilitates substance abuse and facilitates anger management program here. He's been active in AA for a number of years, which he did not say. Parole Project will ensure that he gets a full evaluation, substance abuse evaluation when he comes to us, and follow any recommendations from that evaluation. We are certainly prepared to assist Mr. Williams in his transition, and you can see the family support that he has once he's able to complete our program. And we just believe that Mr. Williams, based on his record, based on his age, based on the work that he's done and the support that he has, is an excellent candidate for release.
All right, thank you. Now we'll hear from Ms. Evelyn Sturgis. Okay, go ahead. You can go up with her. Yes, ma'am.
One day, we were getting ready for work, and my grandson told me there was a detective on the phone and wanted to talk to me. And I told him nothing like that. He said, "Granny, you will." And I didn't know why a detective would be calling me. And they told me that something happened to my daughter. And tell me what, when he asked me to come over right away. I mean, this daughter brought me over there. They would let me go in. But he had shot her. He shot her close up in her head. And they were trying to stabilize her. And they wanted to do the stabilize her before they took her to the ambulance. They couldn't. And I rode in the ambulance with her while they were working. And they couldn't stabilize. And I could hear her gurgling, trying to live, make it all terrible sounds. This was the worst day of my life. And we never did stabilize her, so we got. And after a while, God has said to come and see her, that she didn't make it. I think wide open. But I'll never forget that day. Milton is 74. Karen was 42. And she's still 42. He did 30 years after that. Well, he was able to see his family, talk to me that he wanted to. He was incarcerated, which he should have. And I don't see any different than him. No remorse or anything. I don't hate him, I forgave him. Because I wouldn't have been able to go on with my life. But I feel like he took her life. He had no right to. She's not here. And I'm here so. And our son was 11 years old and he witnessed. He will. He had to go through that the rest of his life, see his dad, and she was not. She used to tell me all the time that she'd come to me when they were together. And she would tell me how he would hold a gun on her and he would threaten her. But this time he carried it through. She left him and she did all kinds of things to try to save herself, but she wanted to keep her marriage. She wanted to have his dad. She wanted the family. Then she left him that one time. She told me she was going back to them. I couldn't talk her out of it. She said, Mom, I love you. Then she went back.
Yes, ma'am.
In April, my birthday was in April. She told me he was giving a birthday party. And she wanted me to come. And I told her, I can't come. She begged me to come. And I went. And I didn't want them back together because it didn't seem to work. But since she wanted to, I tried to support her. And I held his hand and I held her hand and I put them together. And I looked him in the eye and I talked to him. I told him I felt strong. They were all love each other and put each other first. And I thought maybe I might go feel with him. In October, he shot and killed me. I think that we should pay for his crime.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
forgive him. And but I think that he took a life. It's not like he stole money from her where she could get more. He took a life where she could raise her son. She had 2 grown daughters. And he took it from all of us. You know, this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for So sorry for that loss. Thank you for your comments. Yes, ma'am. So sorry. You, Miss Sheila, Miss Sheila? Okay, Miss Sheila, you can speak.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. Unfortunately, we didn't have that opportunity in December. When we received a pardon from the governor or a reduced sentence from the governor, we were not contacted. No one in my family was contacted. And I want that to be on record, because had we been here, we would have been able to speak then and maybe prevent us from having to be here today. I want to say, I heard a lot of speakers speak about his degrees and the work he's doing, and that he's a minister and all the great community service he's doing. But I want you to know that while my sister was pregnant with my nephew, when he was in her womb, he kicked her and beat her to the point where she almost lost my nephew. 11 years later, he was dead. He was dead. She was dead. 11 years later. This is not a man who, in my opinion, yes, everybody should be. Forgiveness, everybody should be forgiven. And as my mother said, we forgive him, otherwise we would not be able to go on and live a life with peace. But to allow someone out in the streets who've done the kinds of violence he's done, not just to my sister, but to his first wife also. When he ran her outside naked, completely naked. And I remember speaking to my sister about that. And she said, he loves me. She said, he won't do that to me, he loves me. But my nephew, when my sister was beaten with a baseball bat, and she called me in the middle of the night and said, call 911 and come over here. Milton beat me with a baseball bat, and I can't stand up. And I went to her house with my babies and my brother and my nephew. And Milton stood in the doorway, blocking the doorway so I couldn't come in. And I said, I needed to see my sister. I needed to know she was alive and well. My nephew was in there. My niece was in there. And I said, the police are on their way. When he let me in, after I got on the other side of that doorway, he had guns lined up on the door, on the wall. And I'll never forget this. My nephew, who witnessed him murder his mother, he said, Auntie Sheila, we have to get out of here. We have to leave now, since the police are on their way. My sister couldn't stand them. And I wasn't going to leave her. He said, we have to leave now. He said, because my daddy's angry. He's going to kill all of us. And I couldn't say anything because I didn't know. I've seen what he had done to my sister. But what I said to my nephew was, I said, your dad won't kill you. He loves you. And his words to me in response was, when my daddy's angry, he doesn't love me. And I want you to know, my sister loved him unconditionally. She continued to go back. She continued to love him. She continued to try to work on her marriage. But he didn't love her back the same. He didn't love her at all. I was on the phone with her on the day she was murdered. I had no idea that was going to be my last time speaking to her. And I remember there was a man working on their home doing repairs. And she had paid him to replace tile, but he bought a cheaper tile and kept the money. And Milton blamed her for that. He came home angry, arguing. And she said, I have to go so that I can deal with this. Hours later, my mother got a call. He shot her in front of my nephew, in front of their son. The one who almost didn't make it because he can't leave her to the point that she almost lost her child. My nieces couldn't go back home. They had to leave. They weren't welcome there. When my sister was murdered and we were planning for the funeral, he wouldn't even cover the cost for the funeral. He tried to get them to say something else happened. He tried to get my nephew to say, even on the 911 call. And he has continued to try to manipulate them. He beat a coworker. He's teaching plumbing. He was a gambler also. And a coworker owed him money. And he beat the man with a pipe with at sewage and water board. And he lost his job. That's how we became a fund. This is not a man that is ready to be released on the streets. And because of so many things that have happened, not just to my sister, but to others, he does not deserve to be released. And I want you to know, whatever your decision is, when we're going from here, we will accept your decision. But let your conscience be your guide. Let your conscience guide you to do the right thing. Not just for us, not just for everybody else, but for the city, for the community, and for him. If he's doing good incarcerated, let him continue to do that. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Thank you so much. So sorry. Ms. Linda Smith.
This is so hard. It's like back to that day and relive going back through those years and relive all the abuse that on October the 21st, he took away something that can never be replaced from me. I left home in 1990 or 1970. And I traveled with my husband, who was in the Air Force. I didn't get to see my sister as frequently as I loved to have seen her. Whenever I did see her, she was always happy and excited to see me. And we talk about how life was going to be when I finally got to return home and my husband retired from the military. She was calling Lynn. She would say, Lynn, she said, I miss you so much. And when I see my friends with their sisters, she said, it just makes me so sad. The first time I left to go overseas with my husband, 1983, he had been stationed in Korea. He came back and we were going to the Philippines. She promised me, she didn't want me to leave, but she maybe promised her that I would not leave town before I saw her, because she was afraid that we wouldn't see each other again. That night, my husband and I went over to their house so that I could see her and the kids. Her son Milton Jr. was 10 months old. We knocked on the door, no answer. Knocked on the side of the house, no answer. But you could hear the kids in the house, and you could hear that there was somebody fighting. My husband told me to go get in the car because the dogs were released in the yard, a Doberman and a pit bull. He stayed on the porch and rang the doorbell again. Finally, Milton came and opened the door. When we walked back to the bedroom, my sister is under covers in the bed, completely covered, head to toe. She won't come out from under the covers. She won't talk to me. The kids are in the back room, the two older girls with their younger brother. And what I found out after, which I suspected, he had beat her up so she wouldn't come out from under the covers so I could see her. I didn't get to hug my sister. I didn't get to see her. And so many memories are just stained with the violence that happened over those years. After he took her life, I raised her son. And many times that child was sad when he tried to contact him and was trying to communicate with him from prison. He wasn't the loving father that he should have been, concerned about his child. It seemed that all he was concerned about was trying to get that child who testified against him about what he saw on that night to say something different, and I remember coming home from work when my nephew was in high school, and he was really upset. He was in his room sitting on the bed, and I asked him, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And he said, "Nothing, nothing." And I said, "Oh, yeah, something wrong." So I sat on the bed next to him. He had gotten a letter from his dad. And he said, "I want to know why. Why did he do it? Why did he have to do it? Why did he have to kill my mom?" And it's a question that remains in his mind today. Why did it have to happen? When you consider when she died, they had been married approximately 10 years. And the violence was even before the marriage. Like my mom, when things went bad, when my sister talked about the night where he beat my sister real bad, I took my niece back to Texas to live with me because she couldn't go back home. He put her out the house because he was beating her mother that night, and she was trying to defend her mother. So he was trying to beat her with a baseball bat too. And like my sister recalled the memory of him beating her when she was pregnant with that child that he's supposed to love, this woman that he's supposed to love so much. The beatings didn't happen just once when she was pregnant. She endured multiple beatings during that pregnancy.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a wonder that he survived at all to come into this world. And I want to know, to tell you, like my sister, nobody contacted us in December of last year when he appealed. Had we been contacted, we would have voiced our concern, our objection to this. He had severe anger management issues. Didn't take much to set him off. And when he got set off, everybody was in danger. And I just can't see it. I
Yes, ma'am.
had to pray and ask God to help me to forgive him for what he did, for what he took away from me, that I can never, ever get back. So if he's paroled and released, my sister can't get no release. She will never live again.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
He can get out for a second chance and start his life again. My sister don't do a second chance. She gone.
Yes, ma'am.
The years that she was taken away from her son, who longed for his mother. He longed for his mother.
Ma'am, thank
For
you.
the grandchildren that she never saw,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
would adored her. For the children, just in November of last year, my niece broke down and cried and said how much she missed her mother. She's got a grandchild, she's got 2 children her mother never saw. Grandchild her mother never saw.
Yes, ma'am.
We can't get
Thank
it
you for
back.
your comment. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for your comment. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Yeah. All right, Milton, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, sir, I would. I realize that I caused a lot of heartaches and grieving to members on both sides of my family. What I did was wrong. And I take full responsibility for my crime. I regret it with all my heart. Not one day has gone by since that awful night that I don't think about my crime. Many years ago, I got down on my knees and I asked my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, to come into my life. Take away all my imperfections and my shortcomings. To touch my heart and humble me. Give me wisdom and knowledge. And forgive me for all my wrongs. Because of all the self-help programs here in Angola, I am not the same man I used to be. I'm alcohol and drug-free since 1993. I'm better educated. I'm older and I'm wiser. I pray with all my heart that one day you might find it in your heart to forgive me too. I thank this honorable board for giving me yet another opportunity to humbly apologize and beg for forgiveness. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move for executive session to discuss confidential matters.
Got a motion for second executive session? Second, roll call, please. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're back in. After executive session, Council fair to vote.
Yes,
Okay, Mr. Attorney Marabella.
thank you. You know, this is a very difficult case. We've looked at this and I've listened to your interview today. And I'd like to thank everyone who has spoken today, both supporting you and those who are here as family members. We've heard what you said. Thank you very much for your courage and your honesty. Mr. Williams, you've done a lot while you've been in prison. And I think you're a different person than you were then. One of the things that bothers me, I think, and I just wonder, one of the things that bothers me is that I heard a lot about you and what you've done and all of the things you've accomplished. You've accomplished a lot of things, you really have. I just don't get the sense that you truly, deep down, appreciate the significance of the harm that you caused the victims in this. I don't see that you've taken very much courses on victim awareness, anger management. You've taken a lot of educational programs. You have, in fact, clearly taken a lot of programs. You've got associate's degree, you've got bachelor's degrees, you've got a lot of education. But I just don't think that you have looked deeply inside yourself to realize what harm you have truly caused to the victims here today. I think that clearly you changed, and I do understand that, but I think that you need a little more work before I'm willing to vote to recommend the parole to you. I think you need to take some anger management classes. I think you need to take things such as think change and look inwardly and truly realize what harm you've caused. You've improved yourself outwardly so you can go out and help other people. But I don't know that you've done enough inwardly to accurately understand what your crime caused the people. So my vote today is to deny, but to encourage you to work on yourself inwardly, not things that you can do for other people, but things that you can do personally for yourself to get that understanding. That's my vote.
Already said and done. Don't.
Ms. Renata.
All right, Mr. Williams. I agree with Mr. Marabella. You know, you spoke today about your crime, but you know, as we've heard today, this was years, quite a history of domestic violence within your household. It doesn't seem as though you've acknowledged that, nor have you don't seem to have a real understanding of the harm caused to the victim's family, your own family, her family. So I agree. My vote, I don't think today's the day for you. Have more work to do prior to release. It's going to work. It's going to happen for you, but I think you have some more work to do. I didn't see in the record where you had taken any victim awareness classes. I think that's imperative for you. My vote today is to deny for those reasons. I do not think you're the same person you were 30 years ago, but I do believe you have a little more work to do. So that's my vote. Good luck, sir.
You have 2 votes to deny your parole. I also am going to vote to deny your parole for the same reasons as stated. 3 votes to deny. Today, your parole's been denied. Good luck.